Now let us look at another scenario, right? So in this case, your file is having the column names, but it was also having some other information, right? So I'll go to this particular folder here, hsb4.csv, right? So here you can see the data is present from here. It includes the column names, but there is a bunch of other information that is present before the data begins, right? So here you have the description of the data set, from where it is coming, what is the name of the variables, what is the type, what values it includes, who holds the copyright, and all those information, right? And when you are reading the data, you don't want this information to be read in, right? So when reader starts reading the data, you don't want this part to be read in. This is just for the user information. You want to read data from this particular row, right? So what do we do in this case? Now suppose you just read this data set. Now if you just read the data set without sort of handling those information that is present in the file, you will end up with a lot of warnings and errors, right? So we'll see what happens in such case. So let us read that particular data file, hsb4.csv, right? So I'm not indicating anything else here, I'm just trying to read that file, and then you can see a lot of errors and warnings here, right? So you don't have the data, actually you end up with a lot of NAs here. That is basically for your missing values or values which are absent. And you can see here the HSB2 data set is taken from a National Survey of High School, which was basically the user information which was present at the top of the file, right? And here it says 225 rows, our data has only 200 rows, and then here it says missing column names are filled in, right? So you can't actually work with this data set, you can't do any analysis with this particular data that has been read in. So one option here is that you can use this particular option, which is skip, right? Or if you go down here in read_csv, you have the skip argument, right? And using this you can actually skip a certain number of rows, right? And then reader will start reading data after skipping a certain number of rows which you have indicated. Now in our case, let us see how many rows we will have to skip, right? That's the number of rows occupied by this particular information we have here. That would be about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, right? So the information here is present in the first 25 rows. And if we want to properly read in the data, we'll have to skip the first 25 rows and then we have to start reading the data, right? So let us try this. I'll read the same file, but this time we are going to skip the first 25 rows, right? So now you can see that the data has been properly read, right? So you can see the column names, you can see the 200 rows into 11 columns here. All the column names are correct. We have the first 10 rows of data, and it says there are 190 more rows, right? So whenever you have some data file which has information present before the actual data starts, look for the number of rows it occupies or covers, and then skip those many rows while you are reading the data.